There is something all of us are doing, and that is we're getting a little bit older every day. We'd like to stop that process miraculously if we could, or at least slow it down. We want to, as the marketing people say, add more years to your life and more life to your years. I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're taking a look at a terrific book. It is called Longevity Tips for Seniors: Simple Strategies to Improve Health, Nutrition, and Increase Mobility. It is written by one of my favorite guests. Her name is Joanne Carter, and she is unlocking the secrets to aging with vitality and grace. This book is a testament to the belief that the golden years can be a time of robust health and joy rather than focusing on decline. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us once again here today on Spotlight. We thank our team at Prime 7 Media for helping us put her in the spotlight today. We ask viewers like you to support writers like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her wonderful book. The links are below this interview. Joanne, great to see you here today.
Thank you. Great to see you again, Logan.
Great to see you as well. Let me ask you, what is the number one thing that people can do to slow down the aging process? In your opinion, what do you think?
Start a new life. You don't concentrate on what you left because you leave all the power and the money and the companionship at your job. So when you retire, a lot depends on your attitude. Do you still want to live, or do you want to just sit and think about what you lost or what you're not doing anymore? So I think that people have to have a drive to continue to do meaningful things and to commit to things and to help younger people and learn from younger people, because especially with technology, you know, we need
Exactly.
their help and they need some of ours, like having elders.
Exactly, exactly. So you struck on a bunch of things there. So let's unpack it a little by little. Having a purpose in your life is important. You can't just stop working and retire and think you can mow the lawn and wash the car and clean the house every day. You have to
Right.
have a purpose. Now, with you, I guess you're technically retired, but I got a feeling you're busier than ever. Tell me a little bit about your journey.
I am busier than ever. My journey actually started with this book because I was looking at 68. I had several chronic conditions. Some of them more severe, even in my 40s. But I had a lot of athletic training and a lot of athletic practice. I did coaching experience, recreation, all of that. And so it had become a way of life. So many of these chronic conditions, I was able to modify the intensity of so that they did not affect my mobility. Or if they affect my mobility, I know how to stretch to undo that. And so in my learning process, I started to write those things down. I said, well, what really do I need to have a healthy, productive life from here on?
Mhm.
Because there's a whole bunch of things I don't know. And I have a master's degree plus, and I'm a math head. So, for a person to say they don't know everything, well, I don't know everything. I don't care what it is, even math, I'm still going to look for more information. And I think that as people, we need to stay curious and growing and want to know about new things. For me, I want to know about all the things I couldn't do because
Exactly.
the things I could do well, I've already done well. So I started this journey like that, and I thought, well, what really would constitute having some longevity with quality in my life?
Mhm.
Not the golden years that uh, I go to the doctor every 3 weeks or whatever. No, not
Exactly.
that stuff, because that stuff's no fun. We all know we have to do that. And we have to do it as we get older because our bodies are starting to break down. But that does not limit us in terms of what we are able to do.
Exactly.
So
Yeah,
I
you were
took all the
very
components that
blessed.
I thought were important and I wrote down experiences and things that I have found and also things that I investigated, because what I know is not enough.
Exactly. It's
Ever.
the old saying is the more I learn, the less I know, which is very,
And
very
that is the
true.
truth. Yes.
Absolutely. Well, you were blessed in that you were an athlete younger and you knew
Mhm.
how to get started. So keeping active is important. It's like driving a car. You drive that car every day, it's probably not going to break down as frequently as a car that's parked in the garage and taken out once a month. So
True.
it's a good idea to move, keep moving. And it
Mhm.
sounds like stretching is part of your routine as
Well, it
well.
is so that, don't forget that as you're older, your joints and everything gets a little tighter.
Mhm.
But even as an athlete, as a kid in high school or grammar school running track, you always stretched
Yeah,
so that you didn't pull. And so that was kind of a basic behavior of mine anyway. But I did
exactly.
learn some specific ones when I went to physical therapy. So I have several of these kind of conditions. I had lumbar problems, mobility. I walked with a cane. I don't walk with a cane anymore.
Great. Wonderful.
So I learned, so there are small improvements, and that makes me more able to do other things. Running up and down the stairs doing the laundry, that qualifies for part of your exercise
Mm,
because you're
exactly.
not supposed to be lifting weights and working out necessarily in a gym. I'm not
Right.
saying it, but it depends on where you are and what
Exactly.
you can do, and you don't push it. You
Right.
push just to the edge, and then you push to the edge again, and eventually the edge will move.
Exactly, exactly. Great advice to do the best you can do. If you've never been to the gym before, it's probably not a great idea to start lifting weights. But if you
Right.
are going to the gym regularly, just because you hit a certain age, don't stop. You might have to
Right.
modify your routine a little bit, but don't stop.
Exactly.
You also touched upon something very interesting in your first statement, and I think that is intergenerational connection.
Mhm.
Being connected to people who are younger than you. You have a lot to learn from them because, like you
Mhm.
said, technology is what the future is, but they have
It's
a
just
lot to learn from you as well. So tell us a little bit about nurturing those connections with people of a different generation.
well, physical health and spiritual health, mental health. If you lose any of the components of health, which includes several things, how much sleep you get, what you put in your
Mhm.
body to eat, if you abuse drugs and alcohol, things like that, um, how much exercise you get, and how much participation you have in life,
Mhm.
and they all matter. So younger people tend to have a little more participation in life
Yeah.
and get a little more excited. So I have always really enjoyed uh, picking up on that excitement. And sometimes they will say something really simple. And you go, I've never thought about that. So I have, even through 30 years teaching, learned things from students because they say it so simply. They
Mhm.
don't have all the garbage in their heads that adults do, because by the time we get out of high school, we have all these preconceived ideas. And they're open and they're willing. Oh, why don't you try something else?
Yeah.
So I have always learned from younger people, which is, I think, what made me enjoy teaching so much.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a great connection to have, no doubt. And I think you also struck upon something very important there is to have that energy, to have that spark, to stay invested in society, in activities, and in your life. You as a quote unquote a senior citizen has written a new book now. And that's
Mhm.
got to be exciting. You're here on my show talking about it. Other
Yes.
people are reading about it. So tell
Mhm.
us what that chapter of your life, so to speak, has been like being a published author now.
Well, it's been not really that different from the rest of my life, except that I get a lot of phone calls and I do a lot of editing, which was never my favorite subject. But I do it with as much grace as I can. Um, can be a little stressful only at those times, but for the most part, my what I write and what I look up, it's really investigational for myself. It's something I want to know about. And I had read that people drop dead after 70, and I said, well, I think I don't need to know something about that. Because I was looking at 69, and I said, well, why is that? So by looking at my own health issues and looking at the things I had learned, and I started just outlining them
Hmm.
and putting them together, uh, like a cookbook. Here's a list of suggestions. Pick what works for you. because I had to pick what works for me. And
Mm,
as long as all those components, your mental health, your spiritual health, your communication with other people, and commitment and involvement with life and society matters.
yeah,
It keeps you grounded. And that's
absolutely.
why a lot of people, if you're losing your hearing, I'm losing my hearing at the moment.
Yeah.
It's getting less. It's not bad yet. I have macular degeneration, so I have vision issues. So many of these issues that I talk about in the book, I've already had myself, or
Mm.
found my resolution and looked up alternative ideas as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It is tough. We do get robbed of things like our eyesight and our hearing and mobility as we get older. And like you said, that we can push back against it. A lot of it comes through diet and nutrition. That's very,
Absolutely.
very important. So tell me what kind of tips you provide within the book about diet and nutrition to stay healthier and to help ward off ailments and disease.
Okay. Well, we all know we should be eating less meat.
Mm,
So what I did was I went to the USDA, the research, what is suggested by the Department of Agriculture, and I listed those suggestions, and then I simplified it to portion out a plate, for example, on what the proportions should look like. And then I also listed the foods and the additives that we should be looking for and not using because they
mm.
are hidden sugars. And some of the things that we eat have more sugar than Twinkies. And they last for years. So that should scare us. So I do go through some nutritional guidance, uh, quite much in detail, a lot of detail. And I stick by them. And I've had to revise my own diet a little bit because I'm from the silent generation. So I'm a boomer,
Right.
or as my daughter calls me, a bloomer. However, we eat meat and potatoes, vegetables
Right.
like we have to. Well, the suggestion is eat half vegetables and then split up the other half.
Yeah.
Because as we get older, we metabolize differently. We metabolize slower. And that
Right.
leaves a lot of room for mutation, cancer. And that's also why our longevity is not as connected to genes as we may have been misinformed to believe.
Right. No, absolutely. It's great advice. I'm of the same generation as you, where the meat appeals to me, the potatoes appeal to me, the pasta appeals to me, the veggies, not so much. But you do have to eat your vegetables. I try to do it in a smoothie every day. So I'll make a smoothie with like protein mix and spinach and carrots and some fruit. That way I get one meal that's predominantly fruit and vegetables.
Right.
And so you do have to go against what's in your head. I rather have chicken
Hmm.
and dumplings than
Well, those are your patterns,
right.
but as you get older, you have to learn new ones
Yeah,
if you
absolutely.
want to thrive instead of just survive.
Exactly, exactly. See somebody walking very, very slowly who's about your age or a little bit older. That'll be motivation for you to like, I don't want to be that person. I want to stay active. I want to stay strong. Keeping your
Mhm.
balance is so important also. I know you mentioned physical
It is.
therapy, but
It
that's
is.
such an important thing as well, right?
Yes. Your balance is very important as you get older. I noticed that my gait has changed.
Hmm.
Of course, I have arthritis in this joint, that joint, and the other one, just like everyone else, hip.
Yeah.
Um, just like many other people, not everyone, I'm sure. But I had to learn how to exercise and stretch those things out so that there were days I couldn't even walk with a cane.
Mm,
So by making that kind of commitment and learning that stuff, because they know more than me, they know it's an extensor on this side and you should do
mhm.
this exercise. And of course, they send you home with things to do. That's fine. I just took that in as part of my life. When I need that 10 minutes for my head, I might go down and turn on some music, lay on the floor and just stretch my legs so I could start my day. Because now the rest of my movement is going to be free.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, it's great advice. Another aspect of healthy aging I find is finding older role models. Like I
Hmm.
always point to Clint Eastwood as a great example of a person who's 94 years old and is still active, still making movies, or 93 thereabouts.
Hmm.
And also, the best part of his career came after he was 60. He was, an action star up until age 60, and now he's, an acclaimed director, which is the big part of movie making, being the
Hmm.
director, more than being the star even. So people do make profound changes as they get
Hmm.
older, or they can make profound changes as they get older. And I think that's important.
I think that that's been the biggest thing holding back our generation, is that we don't believe that we can move to something new, maybe
Mm,
something we've never done before, and do it well. And there's no reason for that. It's just that it's what we've been it's the mindset that we've incorporated from the past. And I have uh I'm living proof that you can do something else and do it well and do it with heart and
exactly.
honestly, you know.
Yeah, yeah, you can make profound changes when you get older. You got to get
Mhm.
rid of those limiting beliefs. If you
Yes,
believe you can't do something, you can't. But if you
that's
believe you
right.
can do anything, you're on your way to accomplishing it. So, I'm a big believer in that. What you believe is what you can achieve. That's for sure. Let's talk a little bit about mental health. Does your book address the mental health challenges that seniors
Yeah,
face, whether it's anxiety, depression, or even dementia? Go ahead, tell me about
all of
that.
those. Mental health doesn't always need a therapist, but I discuss mental health and depression and as well as substance abuse to get the help you need. And at those levels, you may need professional help.
Mm,
But a lot of your mental health comes from your attitude and your connection with your spiritual being, whether
mm,
you call him God or Allah, Jehovah, it doesn't matter.
mhm,
Everybody has a sense of a higher being
mhm,
or the universe itself. And it's really time that people start to be responsible for that, what we put out there. And that means that if you're not feeling mentally healthy or ever happy, you need to address that.
yeah.
You either need to start some relationships that help you. Find somebody who likes to knit, if that's what you like to do.
Mm,
Find somebody who likes to make model airplanes, if that's what you like to do.
mm,
Find it a politically active thing to do because you're committed to that. And once you put some purpose into your life, then all of your goals and your actions should line up with that purpose. And that changes your behavior without keeping a chart or anything difficult, And people think this is overwhelming. It's not.
mm,
It's the small changes. And as you incorporate some of them, then things change. When you change one thing, you bring another person to the table,
mm.
which changes the outcome.
Exactly. You step outside of your comfort zone, you meet new people, you get involved in an activity. All of a sudden, boom, you've got a spark of purpose.
Hmm.
You're no longer feeling lonely or depressed.
Hmm.
That nagging back pain might not bother you so much because you got a reason to get going. You're going to work
And you
through
might
it.
get
You're going to
moving
walk through it.
around a little more too. See, one thing just ignites the other.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
it's really the truth. It
It's a
does.
it's a domino effect, and it's very,
Hmm.
very true. You can have a negative domino effect, like my kids don't come see me anymore, all my friends are dying,
Hmm.
everybody's sick, there's no reason to get out of bed in the morning. Well, if you create that as your reality, that is your reality.
Yes, it
But you could
is.
be getting up each day and embracing the day, getting to the computer. This is an era of creators,
Hmm.
people like yourself who have, stepped out of retirement and writing books or painting pictures or, doing whatever they want to do. There are no limitations. We have a 81-year-old president, uh, you
That's
know,
right. And I
so
don't feel he's too limited. So,
right, exactly, exactly. Let's
yeah.
talk a little bit about sleep. That can be a challenge for seniors, that's for sure. Unfortunately, when you have all the time in the world, when you can sleep till noon like you wanted to when you were a
Mhm.
teenager, suddenly you can't. What's your advice on trying to get a good night's sleep?
I think you have to find where your natural rhythm is.
Mhm,
If you're a person that gets up at 6, I get up at 6.
mhm,
So at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, my natural rhythm is saying, time to slow down, take a bath, do your hair, whatever you're gonna do. Turn the television on, which I don't do too often. Anyway, you have to kind of observe yourself a little bit to know where, what's my natural rhythm? Do I naturally sleep till 10, or is that just because I don't have a schedule? You know, and then go with your natural feelings, or just keep a little jot notes for a day and see how you go through your day. And then you know what's your natural thing. All you need is a day or two, and you know what you naturally do.
Exactly.
And sleep has been an issue for me, sometimes due to medication, sometimes due to stomach issues, and all of these things are chronic things that we experience as seniors
Yeah.
because all of those things get more sensitive and, you know, those are the areas we have problems. So
Yeah.
they all have to be adjusted to fit us. And who knows you better than yourself? If you can
Exactly.
honestly just write down 3 or 4 things every day, you'll nail it. You'll know what it is or what it should be. And if
Exactly.
they look out of order, you can adjust them.
Exactly. No, it's all makes great sense, and it's very, very true. If you want to get a good night's sleep, when you start feeling tired or sleepy, that's the time to unwind and go to bed. Don't
Shut
fight
the
it. Don't
phone
stay
off.
up.
Yep,
What
all that stuff.
exactly. It's great advice. It's great advice. I actually wear an Aura ring, which is a high-tech device that tells you your sleep rhythms and all of that stuff, your heart rate, your body temperature, because I'm a tech person. And it says
That
to
is
me exactly.
interesting to me, though. I've been thinking about those.
They're very, very cool. They're very, 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 very kind of fun to have, and they're a great health monitor as well. But it tells me everything that you just told me, which is that you have this sleep pattern. Like it'll tell me my best sleep time is going to bed between 9 and 10 o'clock at night. I know from
Mhm,
10 o'clock to 11 o'clock to midnight, that's when I'm going to get my deepest sleep. So,
mhm.
it helps you document that kind of stuff. Stuff that you innately know, this will give you the actual factual answers for,
Right.
or so
And
we
some of
hope.
us need the facts. I mean,
Yeah,
sometimes you
exactly.
don't see that something is out of line until
Right.
you see a couple of days of it and you go, wait a minute, that looks funny. What
Exactly.
am I doing then?
Exactly. And a simple thing is eating late will impact your sleep. It will impact your heart rate, will impact your respiration. So you got to be very, very careful there
Mhm.
to watch the time you eat. It's always a joke that people eat at 4 or 5 o'clock at night when they're senior citizens. It's a very good idea. Like
You
you said,
do.
your metabolism is slowed down. Eat early, right?
Eat early, and also you're still moving.
Yeah.
You haven't gone up to take a shower yet.
Yeah.
In other words, you didn't go into your bedtime shutdown routine. So that allows your body to at least start the process so that all of it is not while you're sleeping. Because
Exactly.
that gives you the burps and the gastric stuff. And
Yeah, you
I
get the
had
GERD
all
and all
that
of that
too.
stuff, and makes your heart rate go up, and
Yes, it does.
it's not comfortable. Let's talk about supplements and vitamins. Do you see a
Mhm.
role for those in our daily life?
For some people, um, I don't have any particular vitamin deficiencies.
Hmm.
I don't know why, but
Yeah.
I've had twins and two other children, and I've never taken the vitamins, and I've never been anemic. So
Yeah.
that's the one thing I did escape. But I recommend like vitamin C and vitamin D and K2. K2 and D3 usually come together because they take the calcium so it doesn't calcify your arteries and it goes to the bone where it belongs. And vitamin C is obviously for immunity. Now, some people need much more than that. I'm not sure that supplements provide everything we need. In other words, if I take a vitamin C, I don't have to eat any fruit. I don't
Right.
think it works that way. I think if
Exactly.
you're eating well enough, not that any of us are well off at the moment, but if you're eating well enough, well balanced enough, you won't need that much unless there's a specific thing identified by your doctor. Like even high cholesterol, a lot of it can be taken down by movement,
Mhm.
exercise, and vitamin C.
Exactly. A
So,
lot of it,
and
a
lots
movement's a huge
of
part of it.
water. I
Yeah.
drink almost exclusively water.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Same here. It's either tea or water. I've cut out caffeine. I've cut out alcohol. Um,
Mhm. I
and I feel much, much better. I sleep better. I don't have headaches from the alcohol anymore. I'm a little more boring at parties and dinner, but so what? I'm interesting enough.
so what? Do we care?
Exactly, exactly.
They used to
Um,
say when you're 50, you can say whatever you like. Well, I'm 70.
okay, so you can absolutely say anything you
Absolutely,
like,
can
that's
say
for
whatever
sure.
we like. Yes.
Yep, absolutely. I think you also struck upon something important is vitamins and supplements are just that. They're supplements. They're not substitutes. So you're
Right.
best off eating a healthy meal. It can be a good idea to take a regular dose, not a high dose. The ultra high dose vitamins can be very, very toxic, but
Toxic. Yes.
a regular dose of a multivitamin is often a good
Mhm.
idea as well
I
because
I
our body,
just sporadically do that. I don't do it every day
yeah,
because I think it's too much.
right.
You know.
Yeah. And also you know yourself. I mean, a lot of people also have a tough time digesting vitamins. They can be tough on your stomach.
Mhm.
Before we leave, let's talk about how important it is to have regular health checkups and screenings, particularly for seniors.
Well, I can tell you a story. I w- I went to get a colonoscopy and
Mm,
had to be approved for the anesthesia. I'm like, I think I was 68 going on 69, like August, November's my birthday. And that this is when I found out all this stuff. So I go to the doctor and she's local and I've never met her before. And she's kind of one of those clicky, dingy
mm.
kind of females clicking around in high heels. Like, you just like, is she okay?
Yeah.
And she said, you have a heart murmur.
Mm,
I said, really? Because I've been running like 15 to 25 miles a day for 30 or 40 years. Like,
mm.
nobody ever thought I had a heart murmur. And I certainly do go to the doctor if I need to.
Yeah.
And so she puts the machine on me, and it turns out I have this congenital heart disease.
Mm,
It's a structural genetic. In other words, if one parent has it, you have a half a chance of getting it.
hmm.
And I apparently do have this genetic mutation, which thickens the wall on the left side of the ventricle. However, I
Mm,
have no symptoms.
mm.
And so my only conclusion now that's a story because if I didn't go for this routine thing,
Right.
I would never know. So I kind of didn't believe her because of her flitty and twitty. So, which, is my description of somebody who acts, however.
Yeah.
And I went to another doctor and he confirmed it.
Yeah.
And it is congenital. So nothing I've done or all of that. And I've recently seen, now, the symptoms include breathlessness, high blood pressure. I do have that. Uh, Fainting, shortness of breath, pain in your chest. I have none of those. And I don't lack any strength.
Mm,
So he told me, you do have an athlete's heart. Well, obviously, I've been doing that for 50 years.
yeah.
Longer, 60 out of the 70 anyway.
Right.
He said, but don't push it. Don't push it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've been pushing all my life. Everything I
Exactly.
do is so hard. So, it was a surprise to me.
Yep.
I feel blessed because I don't have any symptoms, which means they take their time in coming and they will come by the time I'm 100.
Yeah.
Hopefully not before.
Exactly, exactly. Hopefully not before, indeed. My
But I
cardiologist
go
gave me the
regularly so he can monitor to
exactly.
see if
Yeah.
there's any progression. And for me, there has not been. So I consider myself blessed.
Yep. You were caught before there was an issue, which is great, which is the importance of health screening. Having a great or a good relationship with a primary care physician is important. If you do have a issue such as a heart issue, I do, you do, a lot of seniors do. It's a good idea to have a good relationship with a cardiologist, preferably one associated with a teaching hospital where they have good techniques and good practices. That's for sure. One of the best tips I think my cardiologist gave me was you can do anything you want, you just can't do anything extreme. So
That's basically what mine just said to
yeah,
me.
exactly, exactly. So I can get on. He says the elliptical is great, running's great, anything you want to do. Just don't do a marathon, don't do an
Right.
Ironman, don't do anything extreme. Those things
Right.
are hardly good for anyone. There can be tough.
Actually,
Yeah,
really.
yeah,
Yeah.
they can be tough. Well, your book is great. This conversation has been wonderful. The name of the book is Longevity Tips for Seniors, Simple Strategies to Improve Health, Nutrition, and Increase Mobility. It is written by Joanne Carter, who has taken a lot of time, who has done the footwork for you, who has done the research for you, and has put it all down very logically in a book that you can turn to as a guide. This book is great because it'll help refocus you on your health. It won't focus you on your illness. It'll focus you on your health and your wellness. And that's where you want to be. Joanne, thanks so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you. Our health is our wealth.
Exactly. I'll drink to
You have a
that with
blessed day.
my chamomile tea instead of coffee. I'll toast to that.
I'm
There
going to
we
get
go.
some tea myself.
Sounds
You have a
good.
blessed day. Thank
All
you,
right.
Sam.
Thank you. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight, be sure to check the links below this interview.